Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And we do full-length car reviews each and every week, and we have a segment called Questions, Coffee, and Cars. We spun it off. We're at 161. How do you get a question in?
Follow along on Instagram at Motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning, I put a post out asking for questions. Once we gather them, the post is deleted, and we start the show.
Time now for Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
Little housekeeping before we get into your questions. Two main things. The first one is we have our tire giveaway.
Yeah.
You know what Questions, Coffee, and Cars is, Andrea? It's kind of like the insiders.
Yes.
People who watch this regularly. It's like the Motormouth insiders.
Sure.
So actually the contest starts tomorrow, but we're going to let you in today.
We're giving away a set of tires for a Canadian viewer and a U.S. viewer.
Yeah, so these are Nitto Motivo 365. So 365 gives you kind of what they're all about. All-weather tires, all year round. Performance, all-weather tires from a reputable, high-quality Japanese brand, Nitto. So what I'll do is I'll put the link in the description below for Canada and U.S. viewers. You can enter. All you have to do is fill out your information, then you're entered. By the way, if it says province, click on that. It'll drop down to also states. And where it says postal code, just put in your zip code and we're good to go.
So good luck.
What other thing do we have to do? What other housekeeping do we have to do?
Well, we've got the Vancouver Auto Show coming up. It's starting on Wednesday, so that is the 19th. And it goes until Sunday, the 23rd. So we hope you will get some tickets and head to the show. There are more manufacturers there this year, like Kia and Hyundai, who weren't there last year.
Yeah, so what happened was COVID came, a lot of auto shows really fell down in terms of the attendance, and also, of course, some were canceled and brands didn't take part. But we're seeing in Canada anyway, brands are starting to come back, and we saw more brands at the Toronto show, and more brands are coming back to the Vancouver show. So go. It's always nice this time of year to go downtown, and the location for the Vancouver Auto Show is the most scenic of any auto show we've been to.
Beautiful. We're going to be there for Media Day, so we look forward to seeing all the displays and chatting with different people. Yeah.
All right, you ready? Here we go. Your questions from Instagram.
Love the show and really appreciate the insights you bring to the industry. Thank you. With government EV incentives disappearing in Canada and Tesla already increasing prices in 2025, what do you think their long-term strategy is for the Canadian market? Will Tesla adjust pricing, introduce new models, or focus on other incentives to stay competitive? Well, that's a tough one for Tesla. I mean, recently in the news this morning, I was watching it, and there was already protests at a Tesla dealership here. There's 100% tariffs on vehicles made in China. Initially, some Tesla models coming to Canada were made in China.
I think all the Model Ys are made in China. Now that's not happening.
Now that's not happening. They're made in the U.S., so Tesla has increased their pricing. I think it's a tough go for Tesla right now. Elon Musk is really intertwined with the Trump administration, and it's causing issues not just here, but around the world.
Okay, so you can't divorce the car business from politics, unfortunately.
No.
And some people will say, why do you guys talk about politics in your Questions, Coffee, Cars? Because politics plays a big part in the auto industry.
Yeah.
And we have Elon Musk is doing what he's doing with Doge. So we see, I'm just going to say this right now. We have a lot of American viewers that watch this, and a lot of Canadian viewers, of course. I can't overstate this enough. Canadians are really pissed off with the stance of the United States right now, with Donald Trump saying he wants to annex Canada, make us the 51st state, putting unjustified tariffs on some major industries, threatening to put tariffs on everything, which is just ridiculous. So Canadians are pissed off. So they're voting with their wallet, and one major target is Tesla. But as Andrea mentioned, it's not just here, it's also around the world. I saw a study recently in Germany, people who want to buy a car, it was 90-something% of people said they wouldn't consider a Tesla. And Tesla has a problem, to your point. They don't have any new products except for a refreshed Model Y that's coming. And there's all kinds of new electric cars from all kinds of brands. I mean, Tesla's first to market advantage could really deteriorate because there's all kinds of great new EVs coming in the marketplace that aren't Teslas.
Well, that's it. And a Morgan Stanley analyst pointed out to a buyer strike, which we are seeing some of that here as well, with Musk's political activity discouraging a major slice of its customer base, which is left-leaning,
progressives,
eco-conscious consumers who might have typically purchased a Tesla are no longer doing that. I mean, even here, because there's some vandalism, and I don't want to say just in Canada, but around the world, there's vandalism of Tesla models, that people who own a Tesla and really enjoyed it and bought it prior to all of this coming out have actually put a bumper sticker on the back saying, look, I bought this before all of this happened, to avoid some vandalism. I'm sorry that these vehicles are being vandalized. It shouldn't be that way. But I think Tesla is going to really struggle. Sales are down.
Yeah, so as Andrea mentioned, they're left-leaning. It's progressives typically that want to buy electric cars, and those are Democrats in Democratic states. And the thing is that, they don't align with what's going on. And I've always said that I think Canadians buy electric cars en masse because our fuel prices are so high.
Yeah.
But now there's more choices. There's just more choices. I think who's going to win out of this is General Motors, with bringing new electric vehicles to market like the Equinox and so on, just at the right time.
And I also think brands that are willing to lower interest rates.
And Hyundai and Kia,
Yeah, put money on the hood. Even the Volkswagen ID4, there's some great deals out there. You've got Hyundai and Kia with all of their EVs. They're pushing forward with electrification. There are tons of options. But getting back to your specific question, what do you think Tesla is going to do? Well, we don't really know. I mean, it just seems to change daily with the administration as to what they're doing. What the Canadians are doing is that they're saying they might put 100% tariffs on Tesla models if they have to.
Yeah, but Elon Musk changes every day too. Yeah. So anyway, let's move on. That's enough of that. I know you're going to be pounding on the old keyboard, but please just, these are the facts. This is what's going on. We're just reporting the facts about the car business.
Yes. Bonjour from Montreal. My Tesla Model 3 lease is coming up in September, considering going back to ICE, as we already have a 2024 Q4 for a family of 4 with 2 young children. Looking for something engaging, fun, comfy, and safe. Which would you go for and why? A 2025 GTI or a WRX Sport Automatic?
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
GTI.
Yeah, the WRX comes with a CVT.
Yeah. And
it's a good one, and it's a chain-driven one, but it's not the same as the snappy dual clutch they have in the GTI. There you go.
And if I was buying a WRX, I personally would only buy the manual transmission of that model, whereas the GTI has the dual clutch. And no longer a manual. I was going to say, and a manual. That's gone.
Yeah. Oh, before we move on, Andrea.
Yes.
We did the housekeeping. So we did the tires. So obviously you're going to go and sign up and try to get those tires, a set for Canadian and US. And then we talked about the auto show. There was one other housekeeping thing that we didn't touch on.
What was that?
This was not planned. This, honest to God, was not planned.
Can you believe
I
it?
was doing my workout in the basement, and Andrea left before me to go and swap a car. I never saw her. Was that the way it worked, or was I watching...
You were doing something else. I don't know what. You were talking to John on the phone.
Yeah, I never saw Andrea.
Yeah.
So she was going
And I
out.
just said, bye, I'm going now.
Okay. And
See you later.
And then I had my workout and shower, and then I got changed, and I put this on. And
then I got home.
And then we both got home at different times, and I'm like, well, look at us.
Look at us.
Black jeans, burgundy with a leather jacket. I said, are we just a couple of nerds or what?
I said, who cares? Leave it. Leave it. This is what we felt like
So
wearing this morning.
we went into our local coffee shop, and they were like, hey, you two, your first thing they said is, well, you're matchy-matchy.
You're matching. And I was like, yeah. And then Zach says, yeah, but I'm not wearing heels. And then they said, yeah, and you don't have a purse. So
It was just luck. This was not planned.
How fun, eh? What would be a good small hatchback for a soon-to-be retired empty nest couple? Should be somewhat off-road capable. Best bet, the Crosstrek. Always enjoy the program.
Crosstrek. That's the easiest one so far, Andrea.
And really, what others in the subcompact class really have that outdoorsy kind of look to it? I mean, yeah, maybe the CX-50, which is compact from Mazda, has a bit of a...
You mean CX-30?
No, I was just thinking, I said compact, the
Oh, okay.
CX-50. They were trying to make it more of their outdoorsy vehicle. But I think in the subcompact class, really the Crosstrek's the only one, and maybe even the Wilderness model with more ground clearance.
Super high satisfaction with that. It's quiet. It's not a powerhouse. It's going to
No.
do the job, and you're going to love it. People who own them love them.
You recently mentioned in your top 10 hybrids video that the Kia Sportage hybrid was the quietest hybrid model you've driven, which brings me to ask which car manufacturer overall makes the quietest cars from the inside, and which hybrid system is the quietest. Any particular hybrid models that stand out in terms of how quiet they are besides the Sportage?
I think we're just going to focus on the hybrids here because this one we can answer definitively. And what's noisy to one person might not be to another, and you have to just get out there and try them. So let's go with the hybrids. I think it's easy to come up with the quietest.
Yes. Sportage and Tucson, definitely the Hyundai group for hybrids. They've done such a beautiful job. Sometimes when we're on drive events, they say, how do you do it? How do you do it?
Next on the list is a CRV hybrid.
CRV hybrid.
And then next on the list, I would put the Ford Escape hybrid. That's really quieter.
Quieter.
And quieter than the one that is not the quietest, and that's Toyota hybrids. They have this sound to them.
I know.
I mean, it's a Toyota hybrid sound. If you've ever driven one, you know the sound. But they don't focus on being quiet.
No. And now remember, we're not doing plug-in hybrids. We're doing hybrids. But I have to say, the Mitsubishi Outlander, I'm just going to throw it in. Whether you get the gas model or the plug-in hybrid, they've done such a good job with keeping the cabin insulated and quiet. Like I was impressed with the gas model for that.
They did a good job.
Yeah. And then what about the Lincoln Nautilus for a hybrid?
Yeah,
I found
of
that
course,
to be pretty quiet.
But that's different. That's a luxury brand.
Luxury. Love your show. In the market for an ultra comfortable, roomy, and reliable mid-compact, mid-size SUV with reclining rear seats. What would be a good option if driving dynamics is not a priority? Under $80,000.
Well, that's a big budget. That's a big budget. I don't remember all of them that have a recline. I think you'd have to go, do your top 5 of vehicles that you like and then go to the dealers and try them out. But usually if you're in the $80,000 price range, there is some kind of recline function. There is a difference though. Some reclines you have to pull the seat back and then put it back. Others actually have a lever.
Yeah.
So this function is much easier.
Now, some that actually have the lever include the CX-70 from Mazda. The Kia Sportage and Hyundai Tucson both have a lever in that rear seat, which is a nice treat. The Buick Envision. And then when you get into vehicles with a third row, if you've got captain's chairs, they're obviously going to have the lever. But
even bench seats do. Because the bench seat just splits. And it has to fold up and down, so it usually has some kind of recline as well.
So from what I can see, Mercedes-Benz GLE, the X5 with the comfort seats, and the Infiniti QX60. Now you're looking for comfort.
When you go up, one that we recently did was the Lexus RX. I found the rear seat foam was... Toyota does a good job. I have to give them credit for choosing a density of foam that's comfortable. But with the Lexus, it was even more comfortable. I hate to tell you this, but you're going to have to do some legwork. You're going to have to go to the dealers and get in and out of them and see what you find comfortable, because back to the whole thing is, what do you consider quiet? What do you consider comfortable? It's very body specific, and you just got to try them out.
And you've put on there reliable. So sometimes that might limit your list
Buy a
as
Porsche
well.
Cayenne. Yeah. That's what we're sitting in. And
very
these seats
comfortable.
recline with a lever, very reliable, but 80 grand is not going to do it.
No, I heard a rumor that every question we ask is subject to a 25% tariff. Is that true?
At the beginning, you were like, enough with the politics. So I just want to say, Andrea picks the question. So the first one was about
I thought
tariffs.
that was cute, though.
Tariffs, Trump, Elon Musk, and Teslas, followed up by a Tesla question.
Yeah.
And now you're doing tariffs.
Well, trying to switch it up.
Are you poking people to get them to type below?
No, I'm just trying to pick different questions than the same old questions maybe that some may have. So I'm just trying to switch up the questions. It just happens to be about these. He was just joking.
I get it. I get it. See, I'm all about the joking. I don't know if you've watched this regularly. I'm the joker over here.
But there is a question here.
My mother-in-law's husband, Phil, Andrea's nickname is Princess.
Yes.
I wonder why. because she looks so fabulous. And then mine is the Joker.
The Joker,
and so I love a good joke. However, we've come to find that people on the internet think I'm being serious about things like politics.
Yes. Well, I mean, politics is a serious thing, and it's causing a big stir these days.
Ever?
So this guy's just lightening up what it is. You know, he's just having
All right,
some
so
fun.
start again.
So his question is, which luxury brand has the best all-wheel drive system? Are they all pretty much the same at this point? I think for luxury brands, there's some really good ones, like Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive.
Yeah, it depends on the grade. Yeah, keep going.
BMW X-Drive, as well as Mercedes-Benz 4MATIC. But you know which one is really good is Acura's super handling all-wheel drive.
I don't agree with that.
I think it's fantastic.
No, I don't agree with that because I'm going to get into the techie stuff now. So you have what are front wheel bias all-wheel drive systems and rear wheel bias all-wheel drive systems. So typically when you get a Mercedes BMW at a certain size, you have most of the power going to the rear wheels and then it shifts the power to the front wheels if more grip is needed. It at maximum will run at like 90% rear, 10% front, and then it can shift it all around. Then you get into, with Audi for example, with the lower end cars like an A4, you have it's more of a front wheel bias all-wheel drive system and shifts power to the rear wheels when extra grip is needed. That's what Acura uses. There's premium cars that use like a Heldex rear differential, and for example, BMW uses the Magna-derived all-wheel drive system. So they're all variations of similar kinds of things.
Yep.
In my opinion, rear bias all-wheel drive systems are usually on premium cars, and in, for example, the more expensive of the premium cars, like a base model Audi doesn't have the same all-wheel drive system as a GLE from Mercedes-Benz. That's my opinion.
And in the non-luxury category, Subaru has a great all-wheel drive system, but I actually like Acura's all-wheel drive system quite a bit. Now, we don't get a ton of snow here, so we're probably not the best to ask. I would love to one day be able to test them all out for ourselves. I've definitely seen videos online and how each one does, but it does depend on the model and how they perform.
Then there's, when you add on top of that, the way that they move the power around, some of them have a center locking differential or transfer case. Then they have a limited slip rear differential. That's the rear bias. Ones typically have that.
Yeah.
And then you have some systems like Acura that relies on brake force. So what they do is they use the traction stability and the ABS system to detect wheel spin, or they can realize that one wheel is spinning faster, that's the inside wheel going around a corner, than the other way around. The inside wheel is spinning slower than the outside wheel, and then they'll actually put a little bit of brake force on the front tire to pull the car around a corner. That's one of Acura's tricks. So that's a lot of brands will do that. But I would also say who's near the top of the mountain would be Land Rover as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Land
there's
Rover,
lots of ways to do this.
Yep.
But typically the more you spend in the car business, the better system you're getting.
Yeah, and isn't that with everything, right? The more you spend. Hello, love, what you both do.
Oh, by the way,
Thank you.
we're charging a 25% tariff on these questions, so you're getting more value because it's more expensive.
A friend of mine just bought a used Nissan Rogue, and I'm wondering, with the financial issues the company is having, will she have issues with warranties if Nissan goes under?
No.
No, and I don't think Nissan's going under either.
No.
They seem to be on track. You know, we were speaking to a top executive at a drive event, and you know, I'm not surprised he said this when he was asked the question, but he's like, we've just launched all these new vehicles. I mean, how bad can we be financially? But I don't believe they're going out. A new Leaf is coming.
Yeah,
There's a new Leaf.
And if anything happened with Nissan, it would be a merger with another like brand. So the warranty would always be in place. I wouldn't worry about that.
I think
a
you're
major
good.
player like Nissan is not disappearing. It might get folded into another brand, but those
Those
warranties would be intact.
Yeah, for sure. And that's it for us. Thanks for watching. If you want to get a question in, follow along on Instagram at motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning, I put a post out asking for questions. Once we gather them, the post is deleted and we start the show. Thanks for watching.
See you later.